The Super Eagles soar and notch up Africa's second win of the 2018 World Cup. And it was a dramatic turnaround from the insipid, bland display put on last week against Croatia, where they really did not threaten at all. It looked like Nigeria weren't really up for it. They didn't rise to the occasion. They lost 2-0 to what's looking like to be the group winners, I think. Actually, yeah, unless Nigeria beats Argentina by 5 or more goals and Iceland defeats Croatia. Croatia will win this group, unless that happens. But in this match, they turned it around. They got the 2-0 victory against Iceland. Now they're sitting on neutral goal difference with 3 points. And Nigeria is sitting in second, heading into the final match day in Group D, where they likely would need at least a draw to get through and hope that Iceland do not defeat Croatia by a certain margin. But what's interesting is, of the 3 teams, Nigeria, Croatia, and Iceland, Nigeria is the only one that controls their own destiny in its entirety. Because if they beat Argentina, they're through. Whereas Iceland and Argentina have to win their games and hope the other result in the other game, which takes place at the same time, goes their way. So let's talk about this match. Well, it was looking like a good candidate to be our first 0-0 of the tournament. We have not yet had a 0-0 draw in the 2018 World Cup thus far. And for the most of the first 45 minutes, it wasn't very exciting. I thought Iceland, they did a good job of neutralizing Nigeria, especially when Nigeria was using their pace on the counter. The only real couple of chances I thought came through Alfred Finnbogason and Gylfi Sigurdsson. He was preening here and there in the Nigerian box. And I think one of the reasons why the second half was much more exciting, it opened up, was because Iceland in the first half did a good job of snuffing out Nigeria's passing in the final third. And they managed to isolate Victor Moses into awkward positions where he didn't really have enough support up front. I said before, I really like watching Victor Moses play. I know he plays for Chelsea. He's a great dribbler. I love his pace on the ball and his footwork, but he really was just lacking that final link-up play for Nigeria going forward, and that's why I think they were not able to get on the score sheet in the first half. In the second half, Ahmed Musa made all the difference, and I said in a pre-World Cup preview match, I'm interested to see what Ahmed Musa does for this Nigerian team. Now, on average age, Nigeria is the youngest team in the World Cup. Ahmed Musa, I believe he's 25. He played for Nigeria in the previous World Cup, where I think he scored a brace in their last match against Argentina 4 years ago, if I'm not mistaken. I think Messi also scored a brace. He came in clutch today. I think what happened with Iceland's case was they had to approach this game entirely different than the way they approached Argentina. In the Argentina game, they played very conservatively. They sat back. They soaked up pressure. They didn't have to exert that much energy. But in this game, they realized, mathematically speaking, you kind of want to go for the 3 points here, not just to put you on 4 points, to put you in a good position to advance. But Iceland also, they went for the victory today because, you win today, Argentina has 1 foot out of Russia. That's why I said earlier that Nigeria winning today gives Argentina a little bit of a lifeline. But anyway, this video is not about Argentina. And I think what happened was, even though Iceland matched Nigeria as far as physical, what's the word I want to use? Physicality, I think they got gassed. I think as the game wore on, especially Ahmed Musa putting Nigeria ahead, it sucked the wind out of Iceland, I think. And as the game went on, Iceland, they were chasing the equalizer. I think they looked tired by the end of the game. I thought by around the 65th, 70th minute, they started to look like they were running out of gas, and you can't match Nigeria for stamina. And it's not just because of the African thing, but it's because of the fact that Iceland had to completely change their approach to this game compared to when they played Argentina. But as far as Nigeria's perspective, they were a lot less sloppy in the second half. They started to make really nice pressing forward in the center of the pitch, and their finishing was just on point. They could have won this. They could have won this 3-0 because I think Balogun had a good opportunity on goal as well, but I think he hit the side net. But Nigeria now, they'll get the confidence from this victory. They know they control their own destiny against Argentina. They beat Argentina, they're through. They beat those Argentine guys, those Aquafina dudes, then they're through, no matter what the result in Croatia versus Iceland. But we know the history between Nigeria and Argentina in World Cups. Argentina always beat them in World Cups. And even though Nigeria defeated Argentina 4-2 in a November friendly, that was without Messi, so maybe Messi will be the difference maker. But in any event, congratulations to Nigeria getting another win for Africa. And look, they're in the most comfortable position of the other of the three teams in this group that still have to fight for everything in the final match day. Nigeria, they're in the driver's seat for the current moment. They just have to close out well, because you have to think that Iceland can beat Croatia. They beat Croatia in the qualifying group. They topped that group. So there's a little bit of history between them, especially the 2014 two-legged playoff that sent Croatia to Brazil and Iceland just barely missing out. But you have to think that if Nigeria can get a draw, it's probably unlikely Iceland will beat Croatia. Even though if Croatia plays a B team, you have to think Croatia will want to close out undefeated. But we'll see. That's for another video. So congratulations to Nigeria. Sorry, Iceland. Hard luck. You're still in it, though.